Live from the Las Vegas Strip studio in scintillating Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Bettor Center Live. I'm your host, Brad Stein. You can watch Bettor Center Live, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, daily, Monday through Friday. On the weekends, we do it live, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, hosted by Louis Diamond. Sundays, probably me. You can watch us on bettorcenter.com. Also, check out YouTube at Louis Diamond and Facebook. We are surrounded by three experts, professional sports handicappers, here to guide us in our sports betting adventures, make us a little money, have a little fun. That's what we do right here. We're going to introduce those guys, but before we do, I want to tell you what's coming up on the show. We have football, and more football. Tony Cusimano, the man on the street, is somewhere in Big D. He'll join us a little bit later. But, wow, those Green Bay Packers, they did not disappoint. Congratulations goes out to Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur. Congratulations beating a decimated San Francisco 49ers team that was playing without 80-plus million in cap space. What a game. All right, let's introduce those guys right now. Three of them. Louis Bag of Diamonds. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
All right, and Chip Chirimbes.
Yeah.
All the way from
Good morning,
Las Vegas,
Brad.
Nevada. Good
Good to
morning
see
to
you
you.
again.
And, of course, Mr. Ross Benjamin, rbwins.com. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brad, from scintillating Rochester, New York.
Scintillating, baby, Rochester.
Things are
Beautiful.
developing there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I'll
The
tell you what's
weather.
developing.
Unfortunately, the wrong direction, Chip.
I'll tell you what's developing in Rochester. My dad's sister-in-law just came back from Rochester, brought back COVID-19 and almost infected my dad, but thankfully he tested negative. I know. Crazy times we're dealing with. Ross, what did you learn yesterday, last couple of days? What have you learned? Because I know it's a lot.
I didn't learn much from yesterday with Green Bay. The bottom line is I still don't think they're as good as the record is. I think they've been beneficiaries of a very soft schedule. San Francisco didn't look like one of those easy games when the year started, but based on what you just said, Brad, they're decimated, right, with injuries and COVID-19 issues. It didn't even resemble an NFL team last night. And I continue to be amazed by the fact that when you play Green Bay, how you don't try to take Devontae Adams out of the game, because he's their only legitimate wide receiver yet again last night. 10 catches on 12 targets for 172 yards and single-handedly carried that Packers offense. Of course, Aaron Rodgers has a little to do with it, but I didn't gain much from watching that game last night whatsoever, Brad, other than what I just alluded to.
Neither did I, Ross Benjamin. Well, let's see what Chip Chirimbes learned.
Well, I learned that it was 148 years ago when Susan B. Anthony tried to cast her ballot in the election. She was arrested $100. And you know what? She never paid that fine. And if we had collected the interest on that, by now our budget would be balanced.
He's one of ours, Bobby. What can we say?
Lucky to have them.
It's a cherished
I don't
item.
Louis Bag of Diamonds, what did you learn?
All right. Well, I thought I was going to be the one to segue to a political comment, but Chip beat me to it. It won't be a political comment. It'll just be a comment on the betting of the election, which I learned yesterday, because I made a large wager. And at the end of the day, this election, on a betting standpoint, cannot be decided by the news telling you who won. So I recommend all bookies hold their bets when a decision is made, because if this decision flips, there's going to be some hell to pay with the bookies as well. Thank goodness I cleared it up with my bookie, and I'm going to give him props. Okay, Jazz Sports, I'm giving him props because he was very clear. Okay, after it, that this will come down to somebody has to concede. In other words, the news doesn't have the power to decide who won this election. So hold all your tickets, guys, if you made a wager, or get in your bookie's ear, because if they cash this ticket with the first announcement, that's fraud too. The bookie's hustling you because they're very heavy on Trump. So that's what I learned yesterday. Back to sports.
Thank you, Louis D. Let's take a minute to highlight our fantastic professional sports handicappers right here on Bettor Center Live.
I believe Colorado State is the play. You see that it went from 5.5 now down to 3.5. I think Colorado State, little money line action has a potential.
Colorado State at home is primed to get a big win here. Even though they were pushed around their first time out, they've had time to adjust and make some moves. I think the Cowboys are going to get lassoed.
If I had a small lean in this game, it's not a game I'm using. I would probably agree with Chip in this particular instance.
Nevada has been pretty powerful statistic-wise, covering the spreads 5 out of 6 in the conference. I believe Carson Strong will have a big game. I like Nevada.
They're being asked to cover a larger number, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Right now, I would have to say my lean here is on the far better team in Nevada against an offensively anemic Utah State team.
Carson Strong is going to exploit this defense. They will get to 38 to 41 points here. And as Ross just said, the Utah State offense is anemic.
The Wolfpack, baby. Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations, guys.
That's a nice reel.
Yeah. Probably the best one. Very good. All right, guys, let's move to game number 1. More college football tonight, Friday, here, November 6, 2020. Miami at Florida. That's the University of Miami. The U, right where I grew up, opened up -8.5, currently at -10. Over under was 58.5. Now it's at 59 at NC State. Miami has one loss to Clemson, the number 1 ranked team. The interesting thing with NC State, I believe they're 4-2, but they've given up more points than they've actually scored, and they've given up more yards than they've actually gained. I want to start with Ross on your opinion of Miami and NC State with the points.
What did you have as your line, Brad? I missed that.
I have it now currently Miami -10.
Okay. So it went from 8 to 11 to 10. So having said that, I just think the value here is with the home underdog, in my opinion. I don't think Miami is the number 13 team in the country. I think they're a top 25 team, but like many teams currently ranked in this AP poll and coaches poll right now, it's a little misguided. NC State does give up a lot of yards. You are correct, Brad, but they also can score. And Miami's given up some yards on occasions this year. And I think that I'm not going to call for the outright upset, although it would not shock me whatsoever. But I am going to take the points as an additional bonus. I like the NC State Wolfpack plus the 10 over Miami.
Chippers, agree or disagree?
Ross here. I'm looking at it a little different from a different angle, but I come up with the same result. NC State, their last time out, went to North Carolina and got totally pummeled. That was 2 weeks ago. And we discussed that. We had Carolina here on the show. And now they've had 2 weeks to sit there and sort of lick their wounds and try and get back into the fold. Miami, meanwhile, comes and they beat Virginia. And Virginia, of course, we know has struggled the entire season at home. They've had 2 weeks to pat themselves on the back, enjoy that beautiful South Florida sun. And I just think that, like Ross said, if we had a full collegiate schedule this year, that they wouldn't be ranked where they are. They'd be somewhere maybe in the 20s. They've improved vastly from recent past. But I just don't think that Miami has what it takes to cover this kind of number. I think NC State's in a great spot, trying to recover from their loss last time out. They are at home. And I think the Hurricanes may drown here.
Louis, what's your play here?
Chip, the wordsmith. All right. I want to back there. You know, I've been high on them all season, but I'm agreeing with both of them here tonight. You know, I don't know if he's going to set the world on fire here. This is an opportunity for him. They both had the time off. I'm not a fan of laying them points on the road. If this were Thursday night, I would be all over NC State and under, because for some reason That's where they excel. But now we hit a Friday night, so I just don't want to go against Eric King. And so I'm just going to kind of pass, and I'm leaving to you guys with their opinion on NC State. I'll lean on that. I'll lean on the points. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Moving along to game number 2, San Jose State at San Diego State. This opened up San Diego State -10, currently still -10. 48 over under, 48.5 is what I have currently. And we'll start with Chip.
Ross, I kind of think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Both teams are able to throw the ball. But San Jose is a big surprise for me. The Spartans went out and they beat Air Force opening week. And now they play a San Diego State team that is favored to win the Mountain West. And the issue here that I have, although they're 2-0 and they dominated both their opponents, is the level of competition. They beat Utah State, who again last night showed you how flawed they were. They got annihilated by Nevada. And they beat UNLV. I don't even know if they play football in Nevada anymore, at least in Las Vegas. But I really can't go any further. I think I'm going to take the points. The problem and the thing that bothers me here is this San Diego State team has owned San Jose. They have owned this team head-to-head, and yet San Jose has covered, I think, 14 of the last 21 times in the conference when they're not playing San Diego State. So I take the Spartans tonight. They're on the road. I'm certainly leery about them, very shaky, but they have the offense, and they're up and coming. I think this team is a lot different now than they were a couple of years ago, and I'm going to take a shot with the points. I have the Spartans.
To answer your question, no, we don't play football in Las Vegas, only up in Reno. The Wolfpack, baby.
Right.
All right, Lewis Diamond the first. What do you have?
I'm gonna disagree with Chip a little bit here. I see too many stats that just point to the under. I see San Diego State being the dominating team in the matchup. In San Diego State, 21-7 to the under the last 28 games overall, 26-10-1 to the under as a home favorite, and 36-17-1 overall at home to the under. 5 out of the last 6 games have played under. So, I just see these as trends that I believe will give you the edge. Unfortunately, I can't really go to town with just that because you got 5 straight overs for the Spartans in the road games, which Chip is going to try to capitalize with that, and I could kind of see that. But I'm still going to have to. I'm still going to have to lean for an under on this play here today. And if I were to take a side, it would be San Diego State. But I'm not. They've been pretty strong the last couple of years. So, but other than that, I don't have much to work on to bet it in late points.
Mr. RBWins.com, what do you have for us?
This line jumped right out at me when I first looked at it this week because you have a perennial power in the Mountain West Conference in San Diego State that contends for a conference title every year. And they're only a 10-point favorite against a San Jose State program that over the last 3 years in Mountain West Conference play is 4-20 straight up. So to me, it looks like a trap. Again, I agree with Chip in terms of the strength of schedule definitely favors San Jose State thus far. San Jose State 2-0 straight up in ATS to start the year. I will disagree with Chip on this point. Yes, they've dominated San Diego State over the years, I should say. But in the last 2 meetings, it's been decided by 10 points and 3 points. So San Jose State has played them awful tough the last 2 years. And then the final point I want to make is people got to realize San Diego State has gone through a coaching overhaul. Rocky Long, in an pretty much unprecedented move, left an FBS program in San Diego State to take a defensive coordinator position at a Power 5 school. Who does that? Okay? The defensive coordinator that was there with Rocky Long took a job at Mississippi State. So, again, I think San Jose State is going to be the play here. I would not be shocked whatsoever to see an outright upset here, but I am going to take the points, like the last time, as an additional bonus. I'm taking San Jose State plus the 10 over San Diego State.
San Jose State. You heard it right there from Ross Benjamin. We're going to finish out college football for Friday night on game number 3. That would be BYU at Boise State. This opened up as a pick'em. It is now BYU -4 over under 59, which is currently at 62.5. Chip, what do you have for us?
I love this game. I really do. When I saw the first number on this game, BYU comes out, then we know Zach Wilson's going to be a pro. He's going to be playing on Sundays, the quarterback for the Cougars. And the difference between these two teams is where they're playing. I believe BYU is 0-6 lifetime when playing at Boise. And Boise, of course, was a huge favorite the last time they played them at home. The last time they were there, Zach Wilson came in, and Boise squeaked out a win. I think this time I just see that the Broncos being ready, being at home. I think that all of the Cougars, the BYU's eyes are going to be crossed because of that darn blue field. I keep trying to adjust the tint on my TV and it doesn't work, but I like the Broncos here. I'm going to take Boise State.
All right, fair enough. 2 undefeateds, but neither team has really played anyone. So let's move to Ross Benjamin and get your thoughts.
Well, you know, again, we're looking at these rankings. What's BYU ranked number 9 right now? Who have they beaten? As you just
Houston,
said, Brad.
That's it.
Yeah, and Houston doesn't have a winning record right now. Nope. They're 2-2. So out of their 7 wins, they have not beaten a team with a winning record. Now, the pundit will say, well, yeah, Ross, but BYU has played 7 games and Boise State has played 2. I get that, okay? But the fact of the matter is, you can make the opposite end of that argument and say, well, they're fresher right now, and they've got 2 games under their belt. So by week 3, they're going to start to gel a little more. Now, here's the thing, okay? You're talking about Boise State as a home underdog. A home underdog. Since 1987, Boise State is 125-31 straight up at home. And they're a home underdog. Since 2016, 25-3 straight up at home. And they're a home underdog. This is only the 8th time that Boise State has been a home underdog since 1987. They covered 5 of the last 7 in that role, and they're going to cover tonight, too, in my opinion. I'm taking the Boise State Broncos here, plus the 3, and they're going to bring the BYU Cougars down to reality.
I like it. All right, Lou, do you agree or disagree?
How do you not agree with that assessment? I just listen. I'm going to be really honest. I didn't have much of an opinion. I felt like went from pick to 4.5. The move is probably right because Wilson's he's a real quarterback. I don't think he's a fraud. But the environment. I don't think Boise is what they were in all those years. They're not that now, but I'm not. I'll never go against dominating numbers like that. There's no reason to. There's more games tomorrow, so you either roll with those amazing numbers that Ross gave you, and maybe even play some money line on that, or you pass. That's all I can say.
Coming up in 12 seconds, the man on the street, Tony Cusimano. He's in Dallas again, covering the Dallas Cowboys Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get his opinion. That's coming up next. Bettor Center Live on bettorcenter.com, YouTube at Louis Diamond, and Facebook. Coos.
Wake up. Coos has technical issues. There he is.
All right, we're straight now. The little bit of a technical. We got it straightened out through technology and engineering back at the studio there. So here we are, guys, back in Dallas, Texas. Here, AT&T Stadium. Dallas Cowboys at home this Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A late game, one of our later games. Believe it or not, this is a game. Remember years ago, guys. Maybe I'm dating myself. This game used to mean something. God, Pittsburgh and Dallas. It was always a Super Bowl matchup. Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, the good old days. But now, boy, 7-0 Pittsburgh Steelers against the 2-6 quarterbackless Cowboys. I mean, their quarterbacking situation here, I don't know where to start with. I think the only thing worse than the Cowboys situation is our Tuesday night election process, for heaven's sakes. My God in heaven. I mean, the Cowboys, they don't know who they're starting. And, of course, we all know the kid looked good, Ben DiNucci, for what he had to go through at Philadelphia and Washington. I mean, the kid was obviously thrown into a hostile environment last week with Philly. So, coaching staff at Dallas, it's not that they're not behind this kid. They just don't think he's ready. So who do we have? Well, we've got Garrett Gilbert in the wings. Garrett Gilbert, where has he been? Well, he was with the Cleveland Browns practice squad earlier in the year. And then, of course, Cooper Rush, he used to be Dak Prescott's third stringer, a couple seasons ago. He was on the Giants practice squad earlier this year. I don't know if it were me. Maybe it's just because I'm Italian, guys. I would go with the kid DiNucci and then just move forward with him and see what you got to work with here. Maybe, but I mean, not the full backing yet of the coaching staff. But he looked pretty good. I mean, he was 21 of 40, 180 yards. He didn't look that bad for not having an offensive line. I mean, Garrett Gilbert's career number is 2 of 6 with 40 yards, and Cooper Rush is 1 for 3 with 3 yards in his career. I mean, none of these guys, no touchdowns, no INTs. I don't know. I see Pittsburgh having this minus 14 covered in the first half. I mean, with a defense like the Cowboys, worst in the NFL, 396 yards allowed. I mean, this is one of those games, guys. Remember a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Jacksonville was at Denver. The spread was 21, I believe. And, of course, we had that earlier with the Kansas City and the Jets. And when the Jets were at Kansas City, I think it was 19 or 20. And the Chiefs got the money. So it's just one of those Sundays. What can I say? And you guys know me. I'm an outspoken person with a lot to say. This game here is just what an atrocious setting for the Cowboys. I mean, they're just banged up defensively. I think Pittsburgh has the spread covered at half. We'll see. I'm going to have to throw it back to you guys in the studio to get your 2 cents on this. I mean, that's a lot of points to lay. What do you guys think? Chip, Ross, what do you guys think?
I'll tell you what we think. We're going to probably add a little bit more than 2 cents. Chip, do you have anything to add to this game?
Yeah. And if that Paisan DiNucci had held onto the ball a couple of times, Dallas would have covered last week. There's no way I'm coming back with them this week. No way. And I'm not betting Pittsburgh either. This is going to be a one where you should go out and watch a movie, come back and get the final the next day.
Ross.
This is going to be the biggest sucker play of the week. The Steelers as a 14-point favorite on the road against the lowly Cowboys. Real rare situation here. You got a team that started 7-0 this year, and you got a Cowboys team that's 2-6, yet they failed to cover their first 8 games of the season, and we're in week 9. How often has that happened? It's happened only twice since 1980. Only 2 teams in the NFL since 1980, have began the season 0-8 ATS in the first 8 games. So everything points toward the Steelers. I mean, unequivocally the better team. Dallas is down and out. All the stuff with the quarterback, well, if we know about it, well, the lines makers do too, and it's all incorporated in the line, folks. And remember, Pittsburgh is coming off a huge win against Tennessee, a very physical game, 27-24. Another physical game last week against the Baltimore Ravens. Now they've just faced 2 of the most elite teams in the NFL, in the AFC, I should say. And now they're playing a lowly team from the NFC on the road in a game they're a prohibited favorite in. And I got a betting angle, Brad. Let me share it with you. All right. So Pittsburgh is coming off a 28-24 win at Baltimore last week, a game in which they were a 4-point underdog. So they covered that game by 8 points. Anytime you have an NFL home underdog of 10 to 14 points, and we're facing an opponent coming off a straight-up and ATS win in which they covered by 24 or less, it resulted in those home underdogs going 17-2 against the spread since 2005. That's 89.4%. So again, if you're asking me to pick who's going to win this game straight up and who the better team is, I don't think you have to ask me that twice. I don't think you have to ask 99.9% of the people unless you're the most avid Dallas Cowboy fan out there. So, but this is a betting situation, and I'm going to have a small lean here based on everything I just touched upon, which is pretty much $1.50 and not 2 cents. And I'm going to turn it back to you, Brad. I'm going to have a lean toward the Cowboys plus the 2 touchdowns.
Pittsburgh minus 14, just like Ross said. Pittsburgh played a couple of tough AFC opponents and beat them undefeated. Is this a letdown, Louis? Are we up here? Am I ready for the teaser? Over, under? Teaser.
Yeah. This is why we pay Ross the big bucks. Absolutely. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, look at that trend on Monday night. I mean, we didn't get that into the highlight reel, but it'll be in the weekly highlight reel. But come on, that trend Monday night, we all had to plug our nose with that trend. And if you're going to do anything, it was with the Giants. I was already all in with Tampa on the teaser. So I lose that, but I'm not going against Ross's numbers here right now. Those are some very stellar numbers. And it is flat time for Pittsburgh. I don't think they're going to lose the game outright. I don't even know how the hell Dale's going to cover. But plug your nose, guys. Cowboys.
Ugh.
Brad, let me say this. I think what we're guilty of too many times, and Monday night might have been one of those situations because I had that great angle and we all said, wow, that's pretty good angle. But none of us pulled the trigger on that game, and yet the Giants covered. I think we're all guilty of sometimes through the course of an NFL season because of the parity in the NFL. And make no mistake, there's no parity in this game. One team is decisively better than the other, but you have to make that uncomfortable play on occasion. And we were guilty of not doing that on Monday. I don't know if I'll be guilty of doing it again on Sunday, but I certainly am not going to take Pittsburgh. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, understandable. Fair enough. Guys, let's move to game number 4. We're going to go to the National Football League again. The Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, his second start at the Arizona Cardinals. Let's start with Louis Bag of Diamonds.
Well, this is a rematch. I have Tua and Kyler when he was at Oklahoma, and Tua got the money. So maybe a little revenge in that mind of Kyler. But either way, I mean, he's got to be prepared for a game. I will not go against Kyler. I'm certainly don't want to lay the points here at all because I don't know what Miami is. But I do know they didn't do much but score a lot of points last week. And if they got some kind of miracle force behind them right now, let's wait and see that. So I don't want to bet against Miami for what kind of happened because it was, I don't know if it was an anomaly or not. But I will probably tease. There we go. Here's the teaser. I will probably tease down Arizona to get themselves the outright win at home. I could see that. But I know Ross has something pretty good on this, or at least his opinion is. So let's see what he's got to say. See if he can change my mind.
The Dolphins play a little D here. They played a little D last year. 4.5 points seems like a lot. Chip, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, listen, we all knew that this team was 19-2, those stats that RB's given us. My goodness. Are you kidding me? Now, by the way, Tua made his NFL debut last week. And very fortunate that they were playing the Rams, who gave up 2 special team touchdowns, fumbled the ball twice in the red zone, and just were totally inept. But so was Tua. He only threw for 91 yards. The Miami Dolphins only had 41 yards or 44 yards rushing somewhere in there. And, Lou, you mentioned the fact that these two had met before. They did meet in the NCAA playoffs. And Tua was outrageous with Alabama, 24 of 27 in that game, 4 touchdowns, no INTs. But, Kyle Murray looks like he's made the adjustment to the NFL. I don't know if Tua is going to be able to make this adjustment. Tua looked rather physically small to me. He looked like he was a smaller player, and we've seen smaller quarterbacks, but this Murray's able to dodge and miss big hits, very, very quick, very fast. I think Arizona at home here has the advantage. I think the public is going to be enamored with what Dolphins have been doing of late. They're going out there and they're covering everything except that game against Seattle when we needed them. After Russell Wilson, I guess. I can't stand that. The fact that Arizona's 7-2-1 against the points in the last 10, but only 2-5 as favorites in their last 7. I'm still going to go with it. This is the Diamondbacks. Now it's the Cardinals out in Arizona over the Dolphins.
Chip, nice
Yeah.
tie. Nice
Thank you.
tie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's my Wonder Bread tie. Red, yellow, and blue balloons.
I like
Here, I'll
it.
give you a trivia question. I got
Uh-oh.
a trivia question. Anybody know who the original Arizona Cardinals were?
The St. Louis
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Chicago
almost.
Cardinals, my friend. Chicago
Chicago.
Cardinals.
Chicago Cardinals. That's correct. Yeah,
Right.
You're right.
They used to play in Wrigley
Now
Field.
that I know that, I could sleep very well tonight, Brad.
Oh,
Good.
that's how I feel about that 19th.
Me too. Me too. I can sleep
Shit,
much
I
better.
was wrong. I guess I was wrong. So I should have my mouth shut.
You were
I
born
thought it was
later.
Browns. I thought it was the St. Louis Browns. But they are
No, the
actually
baseball.
the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles. So my
Yeah,
bad.
that was a baseball team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple switcheroonies there.
All right.
Well, we
Yeah,
used to have
right,
the New York
right.
Giants.
Miami and
Yeah,
Arizona,
yeah.
Ross Benjamin.
You gotta love guys who ask a trivia question and they don't know the answer. Love Louis. And I'm glad there's no Louis Diamond II since you're referring to him as Louis Diamond I, because I don't know if the world
Louis
can handle that. Anyway, I think,
Mm-mm.
look.
No,
I
the world cannot.
I wrote an article early this year before the season started on OSGA where I referenced the Dolphins as being a team that I thought would go over 7.5 regular season wins, and I thought they'd be a very good underdog play in the first half of the year, okay, which we're still in the first half. I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here because I think the Arizona Cardinals are much the better team here. Arizona's coming off a bye. Everybody getting caught up with that win over the Rams last week. This isn't a highlight reel where it's being edited, and I'm just going to repeat myself. They won last week. They scored 28 points. Chip astutely once again. By the way, I keep following Chip. It's an insurmountable task, but I'll do the best I can. 2 for 90 yards last week. Miami gets outgained 471 to 145. They still win the game because of 4 Rams turnovers, one of which was returned 78 yards for a touchdown via a fumble. Another 2 set Miami up with a short field, and another touchdown came via an 88-yard punt return. I just think Arizona is an underrated defense. I think a lot of public money has gone to Miami so far because they're beginning to be the darling of the NFL right now as an underdog based on their ATS record. They've covered 5 of their last 6. I like the Arizona Cardinals here, minus the points, over the Miami Dolphins. And boy, oh boy, Brad, you got to do me a favor. I can't keep following Chip. I want to follow the guy who gives out trivia questions and doesn't know the answer to his own question. I love you, Louis.
Hold on 1 second. So I didn't have to admit that, number 1. Okay, but number 2,
Whether you do or not, it's a fact.
I applaud you. I applaud you for your
Okay.
honesty.
So do I.
There you go. So now here's the true story. And I know I mentioned this a little bit before, but not too many guys can sit down and say they shut up Tommy Lasorda in baseball trivia. I own that. Unfortunately, that's all I got, because if I were smart, I would have said, Tommy, if I get this right, because I was young, can I get a tryout? No, instead I showed him up, and now he hates me. All right, just like a lot of other people.
Unfortunately, you have no proof But we still love
Yeah.
you. We love all three of you. So special thanks to Louis Bag of Diamonds, Chip Chirimbes,
That's
and Ross
funny.
Benjamin, and everyone right here on Bettor Center Live. We'll definitely catch you next time. Remember, bettercenter.com, YouTube at Louis Diamond, Facebook. Special thanks to Eugene Stewart for keeping us on air here on VMix. Thank you very much. Spotlight Film Productions. Have a wonderful day. We'll catch you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, college football. Bye.